And we are live. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to She Built It Boss Lady Chronicles. I am Sharita Gaskins Tillette. I am your host, and this is the show where we feature the extraordinary stories of ordinary women who are building their dream life. And the reason we do this show is so that we can show you that anything is possible. So, welcome. Happy to have you here tonight. I'm super excited about tonight's guest. I just want to allow a few minutes for other people to come in, and while we wait, I just want to ask you to say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching us from. If you have questions, definitely put those in the comments. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. And I still invite you to put your questions in the comments, and I'm happy to pass them on to our guests and get them answered for you. Also, I want to remind you that registration is still open for A Weekend for Me, the premier wellness experience for professional women, taking place in Jamaica, June 20th to the 24th. If your schedule allows, you must be there. This one is going to be absolutely amazing. So, we've rented a private luxury villa with a full staff, and the focus that I've been given for this particular retreat is self love and self worth, because so many women don't recognize their value and don't know their worth. And the more that we can grab a hold to our worth, the more we can accomplish in life. So, again, if your schedule allows, June 20th to the 24th, I would love to host you in Jamaica. www.aweekendforme.com. All right, so let me introduce tonight's guest. So tonight I have joining me Marshaun Olaniyan, who is a shift relationship strategist and a two-time Amazon best-selling author. She helps Black Christian women boost their self-confidence, enhance their self-esteem, and speak softer to themselves by way of her books, digital courses, group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. Marshawn understands what the average woman looking for in a meaningful, loving relationship normally goes through, especially when it comes to what they want, need, and desire. She knows what's holding women back from creating the love life they've always dreamed of. Marshawn combines all of her data, research, and shares simple yet effective tips and strategies with her clients so they can stop being an obstacle in their own life and create an extraordinary relationship. Welcome, Marshawn.
Oh, thank you so much, Sharita, for having me here. Thank you for the introduction. Hello to everybody that's watching currently as well as on the replay. Thank you so much again for having me. I'm excited for the conversation.
Well, thank you for joining us, and I'm really intrigued by your work. I don't know that I have ever met a relationship strategist before.
Mhm.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what a relationship strategist is, and then I actually want to go backwards a little bit after we do that, and just tell us how you came to become a relationship strategist.
Okay, so first, what is a relationship strategist? It's essentially a relationship coach. However, I shift your mind, I shift the way that you show up, I shift the way that you view yourself. I also shift the way that you view other people's what they have to say about you. So other people's perspectives about you. So that's the shifting. And then the
Okay.
relationship is not only the romantic relationship side. I actually start with the most important relationship, which is the relationship with you, the relationship that you have with yourself. So there's the shift relationship, and then I offer strategies like you read in my bio. They are simple yet effective to wake you up, shake you up, but also to get you to accomplish or on the road to accomplishing the life and all of relationships that you want by the way that you are showing up and the way that you are essentially demanding to be treated a certain way by everybody in your life, not just your romantic partners.
Okay. All right.
So
So
it's
how did you fall into this? Like, what's your education path and career path that leads to a relationship strategist?
so it is experience. It is experience. I do have a certification as a health coach, which is a division of relationship or like life coaching, if you will. So I do have a certification there. I've been having it for about 5 years now, roughly. But that's the certification. However, I have been coaching as long as I can remember. I am the friend I am the friend where a lot of people would just come and ask my advice, and I was always on the opposite end of the spectrum. So when my friends and family members were male bashing, I'm like, oh, well, what about this? Or what was you doing? So I never was the person that would just jump on the bandwagon
Sure.
to male bash, because it really does take two to tango. And and there's that responsibility piece that a lot of us don't want to take and internalize, because we want it to always be the other person's fault, when that's just absolutely not true. Yes,
Right.
they play a role, but what role did you play?
Yes, for
What role
sure.
did you play? So after many years of people asking me, and then when I started a YouTube channel in 2015, and I started it because I was only seeing the beginning relationship stuff. And what I mean by that is how to get the guy, what to do to get the guy, and all of the beginning stages of it. And I didn't see a lot of marital advice on there at the time. Now it's a plethora of relationship advice overall. But I started it because I was like, well, what about after the honeymoon phase is over? So after
Yeah.
you get the guy, then what? Like,
Right.
we're not talking
Right.
about the real stuff. We're not talking about the arguments. We're not talking about how to resolve conflict. We're not talking about any of that stuff. And so I was just like, well, I need to start my own YouTube channel and talking about my own experiences, as well as how we could show up and just change the dynamics of relationships into from toxic to healthy. So I started the YouTube channel, and then people started reaching out to me. Now, at the time in 2015, so probably about 2017 is when people started reaching out to me asking for me to coach them. I didn't know that coaching was a profession at the
Yeah.
time, uh, and so I was like, well, actually, I can coach you. So literally, I started just one person at a time coaching, and now we're in 2020. What we got? 2024, and
Yeah.
now I'm up to group coaching as well as one-on-one. And so I do want to back up though, because one of the things that I actually did is during my course of figuring things out and really jumping on the journey of coaching other people, I had to first coach myself. And I coach myself in the way of the research that I speak about is research from my own exes, because I was on a roller coaster ride of trying to figure out this dating scene. So really quickly, I come from a large family, and I was always around my people all the time, seeing relationships, not toxic, but just seeing healthy relationships.
Sure.
And long story short, I believe that everybody wanted a relationship because that's all I was accustomed to seeing.
Okay.
And when I came out into the real world, obviously that's not the way that it is.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to really figure out the dating thing, period, and what that really means and how to attract. And just because you're hanging out for a day or five or whatever doesn't mean that you're in a relationship. So I was figuring out a whole lot of stuff, and I was being overwhelmed by all of it. And I just noticed that I was the only common denominator in all of those relationships that didn't work out. So after being on the roller coaster for literally about 14, 15 years, I took a pause, because I was like,
Okay.
something is not right. And literally one day I looked myself in the mirror and I said, Marshaun, you're the only common denominator in all of these relationships. So
So
what can, go ahead,
if
go
it's
ahead.
if it's not too personal for me to ask, what were some of the issues that you were facing, that you were dealing with, you felt like you were seeing,
Mhm.
repeatedly?
So low self-esteem for sure. Whenever the relationship wouldn't work out, my low self-esteem, as well as what people tease me about, is my dark skin. So I would always go there. Whether it was true or not, it didn't matter. But that's where my mind always went, was your skin is too dark. Your skin is too dark.
Mhm.
And so I never thought about how I was showing up or my weaknesses because of my low self-esteem and how that was affecting anything. That didn't matter to me. It was all about, he didn't like me because I'm too dark. And I was just
Okay.
like, he saw your skin. Like one day I literally
Right,
just woke up.
right, right. So that's probably actually the first thing you saw, probably. Right.
Right, he saw your skin, so it probably isn't that. And so when I got a grip and a handle on, well, it's probably not that, it's probably deeper. So I I would wait for my exes to circle back around, and whenever I would get a text or a phone call just out of the blue, I would ask to meet them face to face. And that face to face conversation would be me asking, why didn't we go to the next level? right? Because there was small talk, of course, but I was just like, why didn't we, like, what did you see in me that you that obviously turned you off about me, so we didn't get to the next level? And my list actually wasn't, it wasn't super bad in comparison, because I don't be slicing tires and the sugar, and that's not my style.
Right. Sure.
Right. But it was, like I said, my low self-esteem. I didn't like to hear no, which I don't know who does, but I guess I was a
Right.
little too pouty.
Okay.
And then I was clingy, right? You trying to go somewhere, where we going? Like
Yeah.
I didn't know about me time, and go off into the man cave. Like I said, I had to figure all of these things out. So um that's the gist of what I can think of in this moment as far as what they were saying. Again, it wasn't
Sure.
anything horrible per se, but obviously it turned them off enough for them to not want to take it to the next level with me. And
Okay.
so, yeah. Go
And
ahead.
so once you gathered that information and you were now armed with knowledge, how did you apply that knowledge? What did you do?
So, anytime I gather information from my exes about my behavior or how I was showing up and the way that they didn't like it, I didn't date any of them again or try that. That was literally just a conversation to gather what I needed for me. And whenever I would go out on another date with a different gentleman, then I would apply what they said. So, okay, you said I was a little too clingy. Okay, so what can I do not to be clingy? Okay, so I'm not going to call you necessarily, right? Or call you as much. I'm not going to text you as much. I'm going to wait for you to pursue me to see if you actually want me in your company, in your face, in your space. So it's just applying things over and over again. Or now I'm really good about it now. But
Sure.
in the moment, I had to like really sit back. Okay, so you thought it was about your dark skin and them not liking you. Okay, so now you see that it's deeper issues. What can you do to be better? So I had to start working on my self-confidence and my body, and the way that I dressed, again, the way that I showed up. And so superficial stuff definitely occurred, but it was a deeper internal stuff that I really had to start working on. And affirmations were there, but it was really just understanding that you don't have to say yes if you don't want to say yes. You don't have to go along with the program if it's not right for you, and be okay with a no, or be okay with him
Right.
moving on without you.
So tell me a little bit about some of the mindset shifts that you had to go through, because you talked about, being quote unquote clingy. And you said, so you made an effort not to be clingy, but I would think that there's something inside that initially was driving you toward the clinginess. How did you, I know you talked about the affirmations and the confidence and that kind of thing, but can you elaborate a little bit more on what you shifted, what the practices you undertook to be able to release that need to be clingy?
Right. So mine was essentially asking myself the deeper questions. It was more of like, well, why do you need to be clingy? Like, what is it that you need? Why do you feel that you need to hold on to him where he can't be out of your presence? What is making you feel so insecure about him wanting to be out? Did you ever get cheated on? Well, probably. I don't have any real evidence of that, but probably. Okay, fine. So you might be scared of him cheating on you. Okay, so what else? Right? And I literally kept asking myself,
Mhm.
what else? What else? What else? Till I finally came down to the real answer is, I just wanted to be loved, and I wanted to be chosen.
Okay.
And so whatever it was that I was picking apart, okay, that the guy would share with me, um, again, like I said, the clinginess, that's kind of what I did. But each situation, I would ask myself, why are you feeling this way about this? And keep asking myself why until I got to the deeper issue. Yeah.
Okay. And so then what changes did you notice after you started to make those shifts? What changes did you notice in your relationships?
Oh, the so first of all, the quality of men that I attracted was different, but a good
Mhm.
different,
Okay.
because I was more confident in who I am. I was more confident in speaking up for myself, asking for the things that I wanted slash needed, and that just attracted a different type of man. So even though we didn't work out, the mindset was different for the both of us. So the quality of men that I attracted was different. The places that I frequented was different. So I stopped going to like the nightclubs. I would go like to the I guess it's the pre-happy hour where it's more like the business type men instead
Sure.
of just the club. So just me doing different things like, okay, so if I want to stop attracting the riffraff because I feel that I am a catch, then I need to stop going to the riffraff places.
Right.
Right? I need
Right.
to really internally feel that I am worthy enough to be chosen by somebody that is higher quality because I'm showing up and being higher quality. So I don't know if that fully answers your question, but I just kept doing things like that. Kept doing things like that.
Okay. And so then tell me how I know you talked about the YouTube channel and people approaching you, but what really made you make this transition into coaching other people? What are some of the revelations that you realized on your own that then, said, you know what, I need to share this with other people.
Yeah. Okay. So because I had my own insecurities that I had overcome, and speaking with friends and family, they didn't necessarily say that they had some issues, but I can hear me in them. So
Okay.
where I was, I heard that they're currently in that situation or feeling the way that I used to feel. And so I was just like, well, if this was happening to me and people are starting to reach out to me, surely there's even more people that this is happening to that need to work on their confidence, self-esteem, and even speaking softer to themselves. So I just kept putting myself out there, and more people are approaching me slash asking for my services. And it's literally just going on and on just like that, just putting myself out there, speaking about my journey, the things that I've gone through, but also the things that helped me to overcome some of these things.
Okay. Now you mentioned speaking softer. What do you mean by that?
Right. Okay. So most people believe I mean being weak, like showing up and crying or something like that. And it's not really that. What I'm really talking about is when it's just you in the room, when nobody else is around, how are you speaking about yourself to yourself? Is it all the negativity that you're afraid to say in front of everybody, or do you have a clear conscience, but also a good sense of your confident self? Like, is it more I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm ugly? Like, I'll talk about me. Was my self talk how ugly I was, or how black I was, or how he didn't want me, or and it had to shift in my case. It
Hmm.
started to become, well, there's nothing that you can do about your dark skin. It's yours. Own it. It's yours. So I just had to accept my dark skin. And I know that seems simple, but it took me a while to really definitely have a conversation like this, but just to look at myself and say, you're beautiful. Like, not
Yeah.
you're beautiful because you're dark or beautiful to be dark. You're
Right.
beautiful. End of sentence. You're beautiful. And just giving myself permission to just show up and be me and understand I'm not going to be for everybody.
Right.
And I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. I can't please
Yeah.
everybody. Everybody's not going to be able to please me. There are some men that want to be in a relationship with me that I'm like, no. So I get rejected. I reject people. It's a part
Yeah.
of life. And I just had to accept the fact that it's okay. It's okay. Like,
Right.
all that acceptance piece is really big. And so speaking softer to myself specifically had to just come from, you are enough, Marshaun.
Right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And you talked about that piece of what do we say to ourselves when we're alone?
Mm,
We spend more time with our own thoughts and our own words than we do any other person. And often we talk to ourselves worse than we would an enemy on the street. Like the things that you say to yourself, you wouldn't say to someone you hated, yet you're supposed to love yourself. And if you're being constantly bombarded by all that negativity, how can you love yourself?
exactly.
You know. And so what kind of process do you take your clients through to learn to love themselves? Because you talked about, your skin and you said accepting it, but I kind of feel like now you love it. You've learned
Oh,
you
yes.
you've come to love Marshaun fully. So
Yeah,
how did you get there? And how do you get your clients there?
one day at a time, one step at a time. So it's proving to them that so this is so let's specifically talk about the confidence piece. It's proven that they have already had some wins in their life. They're more confident than they believe that they are. And so what I really try to do is help them on specific goals. And if it's a large goal, we just break it up. So mine was literally small pieces, small steps, and repeating those things over and over again. Whether it was just me talking to myself or me saying, you know what, I'm gonna go up to this. I'm actually gonna practice walking up to men and actually saying hello to them,
Okay.
doing my own icebreaker. So putting yourself in uncomfortable situations
Yes.
because we have to. Like
But you
literally.
know what? I think putting yourself in the uncomfortable situation that you talked about actually gives you back some power, because when you're the one sitting there waiting for somebody, please pick me, choose me, look at
Mhm.
me, it takes away your power.
It
You're
does.
in this subservient kind of position, and it's like, oh, thank you, sir, for paying attention to me, thank you for wanting me. And instead it's
Mhm.
like you're choosing, you're saying, okay, I'm going to talk to you, and I'm not going to talk to you,
Mhm.
and I'm only going to talk to you long enough to figure out if I like you. And if I don't, that's okay too.
Yeah. Perfect way to say it. Absolutely. I was sick and tired of giving away my power, so I decided that I'm not gonna do that anymore. And that's really tough for some people to get out of that comfort zone and face possible rejection, because that's essentially what it is. Did I get
Yeah.
rejected? Of course I did. Like, yes, yes. It's a natural thing that happens to all of us.
Right.
And I just didn't let it cripple me. I didn't let it cripple me. And another side piece to that, specifically when it comes to approaching the opposite sex, I went on so many more dates because men are not used to women approaching,
Yeah.
especially black women. We don't
Yeah.
do the approaching. A lot of us sit pretty and we sit there. And so I went on a lot more dates than any of my circle because I'm open to the challenge. And
Yeah.
you
And
just never know.
I think too that in doing that, it almost demystifies the thing, makes it so much so that when the rejection comes, if it comes, it's not so much about you, because you can understand, you just met this person, they don't know you,
Right.
so it's not personal.
Mm-mm.
And I think what happens a lot of time with those kinds of things is we internalize, and
Yeah.
we make the situation mean something that it doesn't.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't have to mean anything because it doesn't. As you just mentioned, you just met the person. But even if you guys have gotten past the let's go out on a few dates and now you're in a relationship, people have the right to change their mind.
Right.
They don't have to continue the journey if they're not feeling it. But for you, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. I know it doesn't sound like it, or you're like,
Yeah.
holy crap, I'm starting all over again. But why would you want to continue down the road with somebody that's not feeling you like that?
Right.
Only for months or even years later, it's still going
Right.
to happen anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. Or that you're not feeling like that. That's
Yes.
the other thing. Again, when you're coming from a place of feeling like you're lesser than, then it's almost like you have to cling to something that or you feel like you have to cling to something that is not right for you.
Hmm.
But when you embrace your that self-worth and that self-love, then feel free to choose to make decisions that are best for you, that are working for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
So tell me more about what you actually do with your clients, some of the paces that you take them through to get them from a place of feeling like they maybe don't have the power to being more powerful and self-assured in their relationships. And you mentioned that it's not just, interpersonal relationships or romantic relationships, it's all relationships.
Yes,
So if you
all
could
right.
talk a little bit more about that.
So the main thing is getting them out of that comfort zone. And it's for me, I believe that it's all about taking action on whatever it is. So if you're scared about having a conversation with your significant other, it could even be in your career. Some people have issues with their boss, but they want to have a conversation. So we tailor that what that conversation could look like. And what I like to say specifically actually with both of them, figuring out how to speak their language so they hear you.
Okay.
So what is it? And so then we go down that roller coaster of what does that look like? What have you heard them say? How could you approach this in a way? And then we even work with the rejection piece, if you will. So the things that they cannot control, but specific. Okay, let's jump into the significant other. A lot of times we know how our significant other is going to show up and how they're going to react based off of past behavior. It doesn't mean that they're going to react that way this particular time, but
Sure.
based off of past behavior, they may act a certain way. So if it becomes like yelling and screaming, okay, so this is his pattern. His pattern is yelling and screaming at you. So how would you show up? Because you can't control how he's showing up, but how can you control your emotions if that happens? And then we kind of walk through that. So we walk through all of the scenarios that possibly could happen to arm her with the way that she's going to show up. And does it happen perfectly every time? Absolutely not. Right?
Sure.
Absolutely not. But by the same token, they feel more powerful by just speaking with me because now they're not as nervous as far as the outcome because they
Right.
still need to get off their chest what they need to say, but doing it in a respectful manner. So it's all about taking action. Whatever it is that you are fearful about doing is what I have them do.
I actually like that piece about almost practicing or having a script, if you will,
Hmm.
because sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment and things are getting tense, at least I know for me, my brain might go blank. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to say, but if you have planned in advance and you know exactly what you want to say and you're prepared for certain types of reactions and what you will do in response to those reactions, I think it puts you in a better position to have a more productive interaction.
Yes. The other thing that I will say is the your breath work. Very simple, just taking a pause. Instead of responding, excuse me, instead of reacting,
Hmm.
let's respond. So, doesn't again, you can't control the other person. So, take a deep breath so you can try to be very clear in what you want them to hear you say. So it's taking a deep breath, maybe counting to 5. All of this has happened really quick. So it's not
Yes,
like you're, taking a deep breath and then one, two, everything has happened real
sure,
quick. And
sure.
so just so you can gather your thoughts, even if your thought is, you know what, I think we should pause. I think we should pause and take a break and come back to this. Are you open to coming back to it in another 30 minutes? So you can get yourself together. I can get myself together and then we can come back. Because all of that takes away from all of that toxicity that happens that so many of us are so accustomed to. You can break all of that down by just asking for a pause.
Yeah. So now I want to know, what do you do for your self-care, like to keep yourself built up and confident and feeling good about yourself?
So I definitely listen to anything that's going to work on my mind and the positivity. So it could be a podcast, could be an audio book, could be an actual book where I'm reading. I definitely take care of my body in the sense where I'm working out about 5 days a week for about 30 to 45 minutes every, 5 days a week. So I do that. I try to eat healthy, but for me, most of it is what I'm listening to, what I'm intaking every single day. I listen to, I'll say about 90%, because there is some smut in there, but about 90% is very healthy positivity, building me up, whether it's in my personal life or on my business side. Because, building a business, it can be a little crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm listening to the icons that we see. And I usually listen to Black men, to be quite frank. I'm like Steve Harvey or Kobe Bryant or any of the people, any of the men specifically that have been through a hard road, Kevin Hart, all of them people. I listen to their stories and I'm like, if they could do it, living in their car, I'm not living in my car.
Right.
I just got to keep going. I just got to keep going because it's already starting to show me. It's already starting. So I just got to keep
Right.
going. So a lot of it really is keeping my mind um, on the positivity, on the you got this, on the keep showing up, on the understanding that just because people can't see what's happening in the background doesn't mean that my name is not being put in
Right.
room because of God. That's yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, sorry, two questions are coming to my mind at the same time, and I gotta sort.
It's all
I
right. It's all right.
gotta make them stop talking together so I can so I can hear them individually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think what I wanted to ask was, you talked about your personal development, but one of the things that I talk to, my community a lot about, especially lately, is your circle. What is your circle like?
Yes. So, okay. Thank you. So, wait, I'm sorry. The question is, what is my circle specifically like?
Yeah, what is your circle
Okay.
specifically like? But you can also, if that's too personal, you can talk about what about clients and stuff.
No, no, no. I'm fine. I'm fine. My personal circle is just what I said. Positivity. Positivity. Um, Everybody's building each other up, and there's little to no drama. Don't say this 100%, but little to no drama, because all of us understand that we got so much on our plates, and the outside world is trying to kick our butt and kick us down. So I intentionally make sure the people in my circle are, I'm able to give them something, but they're also able to give me something. So it's not just a take on their end, because I've been in
Sure.
those situations where I'm the giver and everybody's the taker. And then I'm like, well, who am I going to get from?
Right. Right.
So now I'm very intentional, and I call them strategic friendships is what I call them.
Yes.
Strategic friendships, because I also have a 7-year-old. So I watch everything. I really truly believe everything impacts the way that you view yourself, based off of everything that you have coming in, from the things that you read, the things that you watch, the things you listen to, the people that are in your circle that are around you all the time. If it's nothing but negativity, trust me, you are negative.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. So we're just about out of time. But one thing I do want to ask you, if there's a single best thing, if there's a woman who's watching, who's in a relationship, who or wants to be in a relationship, or a healthy relationship, what's the single best thing that you would recommend that she do?
The single best thing I could recommend the woman that's watching that wants to be in a healthy relationship is to work on making your relationship with you healthy.
Okay, and like, if you don't know where to start, like you never worked on your relationship with yourself, what do you where do you recommend they begin?
So I would recommend that they begin picking up a book and applying what they read. Or if you're a podcast person, start feeding the positivity in your ears. And I honestly, I would say day in and day out, to try to block out as much noise as possible, because you're going to need it in order to even level up a little bit.
Right.
Because maybe you can't change your circle right now because
Yeah.
everybody's negative, or the
Yeah.
majority, right? So you got to just start taking little steps, because after a while, that negative circle, you're going to start asking yourself some tough questions like, why am I friends with this person?
Right.
Why do I
Right.
let this person always tear me down and I don't say anything? Or
Right.
just,
Or
you're going to
pull,
start
yeah,
asking
pull your
yourself,
energy.
yeah, yes, yes. Why do I, or yes, just yes. so, so I would say start with something easy. Now, if you're at a state where you have done some of that, but you need more, then I would absolutely suggest coaching, because coaching is going to help you get there a lot faster. You can do it on your own, absolutely. That's
Yes.
honestly where I started, but it took me, I'm about year 20 to learn all
Mhm.
this stuff.
Right. Right.
And so you don't want to take another 20 years of your life. The coach is going to help you get there a lot faster, to get you past that learning curve. And now
Yeah.
there's so many people out here that are trying to help on a level. So, and that's coaching in every area, not just your relationship, although that's what we're talking
Right.
about, but that's in every area of your business and your career, even parenting. Like there is coaching out there for everything. And if you want to level up a lot faster and you have the means to do it, I absolutely would recommend you just going with the coach and not giving them a lot of pushback.
Yeah. Well, you know what you talked about, your circle, and maybe your circle is negative. And one thing I noticed with my life, that when I became a part of a coaching group, and I started on social media becoming friends with those people, my social media changed completely. Like my news feed went from, kind of fluff
Hmm.
sorts of things to really powerful, impactful things that were growing me. So that was like a side effect that I hadn't anticipated. And so even if your physical circle hasn't necessarily changed,
Hmm.
by changing the people that you follow on social media, and you mentioned the podcast and the books and things like that, even doing those kinds of things can help to motivate you and to elevate you.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's a great point, because following like-minded people, you have a tendency, even if the negative people are still on as your friends, at
Yes.
some point, because of the algorithm, you won't see their riffraff.
Right, right, right. So I've enjoyed this conversation so much. If people are looking for to work with you, if they're trying to figure out, their relationship situation, and they want to work with you,
Mhm.
where can they find you?
They can find me on my website, which is marshauno.com. So www.marshauno.com. Or they can also send me an email to just get to me really, really quickly. The email definitely works, which is Marshaun at marshaunolaniyan.com. And I can send my full last name if you don't have it. I'm pretty sure you do, though.
I
So it's
have it.
Marshaun at
Yeah, we'll make
marshaunolaniyan.com.
sure that it all gets in the comments.
Perfect. Yes. Those are the
But
two places that I answer the most. And then the third place would be Instagram. I know a lot of people are on Instagram. So it's Marshaun underscore O on Instagram. On Instagram.
Well, thank you so much, Marshawn, for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us and encouraging us to up level our lives, up level our circle, up level our the things that we allow in, and certainly, the part about speaking gently to ourselves.
Yes.
If you don't take anything else away from this episode, I would ask that you take that away, just to be kinder and gentler to yourself and to build yourself up. Be your own cheerleader.
Yes. Love
So,
that.
and then, I just have to get one more little plug in. If you are looking for a circle, actually two plugs in. If you're looking for a circle, Boss Lady Dream Builders is the perfect circle of positivity. Look for us on Facebook, Boss Lady Dream Builders. We're a community of professional women up leveling in community. And then again, a weekend for me. Registration is open for a weekend for me, the premier wellness experience for professional women, taking place in Jamaica, June 20th to the 24th. And I can't even tell you the circle of love and positivity that emanates from the women that attend these events. So
Mhm.
if you need a community, those are two perfect communities. Come join us. Take care. Have a great night. Again, thank you, Marshawn.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Bye bye.